Because of the pandemic, I've been spending a ton of time in Zoom calls, and it strikes me that the audio is almost always terrible. Whoever's speaking sounds like they're talking through an AM radio or a telephone or standing in the middle of a cathedral. It's boomy, it's echoey, and it just sounds bad. And I don't like to sound bad, so I've been looking for ways to sound better. But just as an example of what mediocre Zoom audio sounds like, this is my laptop's built-in microphone. It's a MacBook Pro built-in microphone in a relatively live room. So that's what that sounds like. The first thing I reached for to make it better was a pair of earbuds. So let's hear what that sounds like. This is a pair of Apple brand earbuds. Full disclosure, they have been stepped on, but it was the earpiece, not the microphone. The microphone seems to be intact, but these sound terrible. So I searched for more options. So here's a couple of ideas arranged in price from least to more expensive. So this is the ubiquitous Shure SM57. This is not a USB mic, so this is plugged into a Mackie Onyx Producer, which is an external USB audio interface. So the total cost on this rig is $250, something like that. The Shure 57 is, of course, well known, very popular. Everybody has one. The only drawback to this is that it doesn't have much output, and so you will end up turning up the interface all the way. So in my case, it's dimed. The input gain is up all the way. And the other slight drawback to this particular mic is that there's not much plosive protection. You will have to get it fairly close to you, so it will be in the camera frame. And if you pop your Ps, you'll probably hear that in the microphone. Of course, other dynamics would have built-in plosive protection, like the 58 or lots of other choices. But anyway, that's the Shure SM57. So I wanted to check out a couple of inexpensive condenser microphones. This is the audio-technica AT2020. This is not the USB version, although they do make one. This is the older one with the XLR connector. And the gain is pretty much maxed or close to it on the Mackie. And you have to get pretty close to it. And as a side address mic, it's going to kind of be in your face a little bit. So this is the audio-technica AT2020, external interface, and that's what that sounds like. The next option is a classic broadcast dynamic. This is the electro-voice RE20. This microphone also does not have a ton of gain, and so I have plugged it into a cloud lifter, which is a sort of inline preamp from my friends at Cloud Microphones. So the signal chain is RE20 into cloud lifter into the Mackie Onyx Producer. The gain on the Mackie is still turned up pretty far to get a good signal level into Zoom, but that's what that sounds like. Another option that would be a little spendy if you didn't already have one, but would be to use a large diaphragm condenser mic from your studio. So there's no reason not to use one of these on a Zoom call, and a lot of reasons to use them. For example, they sound great. So this is a microphone that I make. This is the Roswell Mini K47. It's a large diaphragm condenser. I wouldn't recommend people rush out to buy it for a Zoom call specifically, but it works really well in that context. And then when you're not on the phone or in a Zoom call, you can of course use it on guitar, bass, drums, vocals, etc. So this is a condenser microphone. It does require an external interface. So this is plugged into my Mackie Producer, and that's the Roswell Mini K47. So as long as you're going through your studio mic locker to find out what you can use on Zoom, you might as well pick something interesting. So this is one of my interesting mics. This is an Octava ML19 ribbon microphone, and it is plugged into the cloud lifter and then into the Mackie. So this is an old Russian ribbon with a cardioid pattern, so it is end address. And this is this is what this sounds like. This is, I think, the most expensive microphone in my collection right now. This is a Neumann U87 AI, street price about $3,200, plugged into the Onyx Producer and then into Zoom. Needless to say, it sounds great. The only downside to this microphone is that this microphone will only be good for 40 minutes because after you've paid for this, you can't afford to buy the Zoom subscription to let your meetings go any longer. I'm sorry.